Hurricane Tyra Black, a top 5 player in the world currently, number 4 in women's and 5th in mixed, yes. I want to say. Pretty impressive, 6.2 duper plus, a little more than that, which is pretty exciting. So really, really fortunate to have her here on the channel. Obviously, Tyra, want to give a huge shout out to you, big thank you to you for taking the time. I mean, it's really nice of you to do this for us. So she's going to go over how to be unstoppable at the kitchen line. I think a lot of players that are hitting, learning how to drop and getting up to the kitchen line really need this lesson to become unstoppable. So we're gonna go over 5 key components. The first one is going to be movement and footwork. The second one is going to be hitting aggressive dinks, okay? The third one is going to be how to take dinks out of the air and not be pushed back, so keeping your feet right at the kitchen line. The fourth is just gonna be general volleys, how Tyra deals with those. And the fifth one is gonna be Tyra's elite backhand, how she hits a great one-hander and two-hander out of the air. So obviously, Tyra, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Let's do it.
For having me.
So when you're at the kitchen line and you're moving back and forth, you're playing out the point, are there things that you're watching from your opponents to signal, hey, you should be going this way, this way? Are you watching? What are your what are your biggest keys? Are they watching their paddle face?
Yeah.
Watching their hand movement, watching kind of, like if they're out of position, that's when you kind of crash on that ball?
So I usually watch more of their positioning on the court. Okay. So if they're dinking and I see that they're backing up, that's when I'm going to kind of be a little bit more aggressive with my shots. Especially if I see them backing up here, there's a lot of room over there. So I'm just kind of watching their footwork. When they're a little bit closer holding the line, that's when I'm watching their paddle more than their movement, just because this is usually where they're going to attack from. So I'll just watch their paddle face. If I see that they're reaching in like this, I know I can get ready to maybe attack the next one, or I'm going to keep dinking. Versus if I see they're here or setting up here, they're going to attack me, and I'll usually take a step back off the line.
You'll take a step back?
Yeah,
okay.
If I see they're going to speed up, it's usually just one step back and get ready here. Interesting.
So on that, because I do that sometimes and I feel like I'm late. Like I feel like there's sometimes I'm watching you about to attack and I think I'm stepping back too late. So like how fast, how quickly are you reading that shot to take? Because you have to go 1-2. It's not like you teleport to step back, right? And it's super important to obviously be set for that next shot.
So I don't even really notice this when I'm playing, but when I watch it back, I really see it. But whenever I'm in a rally, I'll take one step back, and if I see that they're gonna speed up, I just split step back into it.
Okay.
So it's really just one and then split step.
And if they don't attack, you're there.
Yeah, then I go here, I go back, and then I get back forward. So there's always a one step, then a split step, and then you can go back.
Okay.
Or if I see that they're here, then sometimes I'll just shoot back forward and split step again. But it just really depends on what shot I see my opponents are gonna hit. Okay.
So if they're attacking, let's say I'm attacking from up here, that's when you're probably gonna take the step back?
If I see you're attacking from over there, my partner's usually gonna be covering the line. So I'll usually, I'll take a diagonal step back. I usually sit here so that I can sit forehand and take anything from here over.
So you kind of open up your hips.
Yeah, because it's really difficult for anyone to get the ball over there. And if they do, I usually know that I'm fast enough to like get it most of the time, or if they hit a really good shot, I mean, good for them, but it's a really difficult shot to hit. So I'll just try and cover anything over here so I can cover myself with my backhand or my partner through the middle.
Interesting. Okay. What about dinks? So let's say you're having a long dink rally back and forth cross court. Lateral movement, like what are you doing to are you doing like these little hops back and forth and then so let's say you hop, you get a shot in the middle, you take that, you hit it back to your opponent. Are you going back automatically, or are you kind of watching their shot come back?
That really depends on where I hit my shot. So if I'm coming over and almost in front of my partner here, if I'm going cross court, I will usually just stay here and wait a little bit longer, just because they'll usually hit the ball back to me or to my partner. It's really difficult, again, for them to get the ball over there. So if that's the case, if I'm going up the line, which isn't, I usually go through the middle or towards the person on the left, but if I do go up the line towards that person, then I'm gonna wanna recover towards the middle of my box, just so that I can cover the line, and my partner's usually gonna shift over with
What
me.
if you go middle? Like if you go middle dink to middle?
Yeah, that's the shot I usually hit most. That's why I kind of wait and see who hits it. I get away with that shot a lot, which is actually really crazy. I think there's a little confusion in the middle about whose ball that is. But if I see that person's taking it, I'm usually gonna stay. But if that person, again, if they're coming that far over, it's really difficult for them to hit a winner cross court like that.
Sure.
Because that's their backhand. They'd have to be like reaching over like this. So I will shift over a little bit, but like, again, I can leave that much of the court open. It's okay. So I'm still gonna cover most of the middle, then my partner is gonna be covering their side over there.
Okay, so one more question. So what about mixed on that middle shot? So let's say you hit a middle dink, because usually this guy is going to be taking that forehand here versus the girl taking the backhand. Do you ever think about that in like mixed? Like, do you have any?
Like if I'm the one speeding up, or what?
Yeah. So well, let's say you hit that middle dink, right?
Maybe on the right side. If
Oh, true. If you're a mixed, I guess. Yeah, that's a good
I
point.
mean, I play with a lefty sometimes, and I will do it, but I'll usually take it either directly at the guy's body, just because they're looking to take that forehand, they're not ready for that, or I'll go into the girl's body because she's usually sitting backhand.
Okay, so you go cross body and kind of try to jam her.
Yeah, but you
This
can
way.
also get away with it a lot. If you push the guy out cross court, most guys there's quite a few guys who do this like crazy like top spin one. So by the time they're over here, if they think you're gonna keep dinking just because they're not usually ready for me to take a ball out of the air, especially a girl, then I can get away with that middle ball. Like if I'm playing with a lefty on the left, then I can get away with it. Because a girl, again, if a girl's over there, she's usually sitting backhand, so a lot of the court is open for me.
Aggressive dinks. So let's talk about aggressive dinks. So in a match, I guess, when you're dinking in general, like what's your philosophy or what's your idea on dinks just in general?
I'm
And
usually just
how to like work the point.
Yeah, I'm usually just looking for openings on the court. So I like to move my opponents around a lot on the court. So I'll go like a lot out wide. Sometimes I'll spread it. So I'll go out wide there, out wide here, and then hit some middle. So then there's a little mix up between my opponents, especially if it's a new team. That's a really good shot.
Are you ever afraid of the Ernie when you go line, or you think you hide it well enough?
I think I hide it well enough. I don't usually go like super far line over here. I'll try and keep it more towards, I guess almost like not the middle of their box, but somewhere over here. I kind of think of like the court in different quadrants. So like, I think of it as 4 quadrants. Like that's one, I guess I can't explain it from over there.
No, you can. You can cross cameras.
Okay. So it's like, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4.
Okay.
So sometimes I'll think of like the middle of one. So it's almost like the middle of the box. So
like
especially when
right here-ish?
yeah. So when
Okay.
I'm game planning with like sometimes my teammates or like partners, we go with the quadrants. We're like, okay, we'll dink to 1, 4, and then let's say 3, whatever. Just kind of mix it up. So I really like to move the ball around as much as I can and just kind of go for like certain patterns against specific opponents.
So for dinking, for me, for example, I like to hit angles, but obviously I don't want to set up ATPs. So when you're dinking kind of cross court with someone, you never want to really set them up for easy ATP, right? So when you're hitting cross court dinking, are you going for around the left foot or like this, like where you're saying quadrant 1, like this edge of it? Is that kind of your aim?
Yeah, I'll try and go over there. The way to avoid the Ernie is to really focus on getting that spin to push them back rather than out wide. Because some people like to roll out wide and they're pushing it that way. You really want to think of pushing them back. So it's not just trying to hit the ball off the court. You're trying to hit it deep through the box.
Okay.
It sets up the point a lot better and it's tougher for them to do anything with it.
I like that, the whole quadrant thing. I think that was a really good clip. I've never heard that before. That's really good.
I also split up like our boxes, but that's too complicated. But I think of it in quadrants. That's how I did it in tennis. Like my coach taught me that kind of.
You split in boxes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like the box also has like 1, 2, 3, and 4. Like that's a certain.
So like
spot
8 in terms
Yeah.
of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 kind of deal.
Pretty much, but you don't do that like with your partner. That's more for like your own spots of where you're gonna like.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's like inside foot type of thing.
Right. So like so Tommy's right foot would be 7, or like on the edge of quadrant 3 or 4.
So it's probably like 6, because then 7.
Yeah, this is like super complicated. I don't really
I don't mind complicated.
I naturally did this with like my coach, so we just always like spoke through it and it was super easy. But I just kind of break up each box. That's how you really work on like your target. So like instead of pulling someone super far out wide, maybe you're going to like 3, like you split this up 1, 2, 3, 4. You go towards 3 to kind of like push them through this way rather than pushing them off the court, which kind of sets up that ATP.
What about like, so for an angle, what about that tee? Would it be inside of that for a dink? Obviously you don't want to hit the line, but like aim point. So if I hit a dink right here, I would want to hit it about right there instead.
Yeah, probably somewhere around right here.
Okay.
Because anything over here, once
Yeah.
the topspin goes, it's lifting and it kind of sets up that ATP. Rather than if it's back here, if I'm pushing someone back, I'm not in position to hit an ATP from right here. But if you're going across, then I'm in perfect position.
Okay. So you rarely, unless you know you have them on an angle, you rarely hit that super angle shot.
Yeah, like I'll occasionally do it if I know someone doesn't really hit ATPs or like we're in a really intense point. Sometimes I'll go for a little too much, but not on purpose. But I'll usually just try and push them back this way through the court.
Okay. One more super good question. So middle dink, do you really try to aim for like basically right here on a middle dink, or are you somewhere in this, anywhere in this region is fine?
Sorry, in my head, everything's in like the quadrants, but basically like on anywhere to the right of the line, just because any left side player is going to be covering this automatically, and the right side player is usually going to be over here. So if I get the ball somewhere around this area here, they don't usually know whose ball that is, because obviously middle is for the left side player, but what about this zone right here? People don't usually know what to do with that. So I'll usually just try and hit it deep through right here. There's a lot of mix up, and if the left side player does hit it, they're usually going backwards to make contact with that ball.
Yeah, or this person's going back on a backhand. That's never
So a
good
lot of
for
the
them.
time they're backing off the line, and it kind of sets up a lot of angles for me on the court.
Okay, perfect.
If I see someone's holding the line like really strong, I'll usually try and hit a slice just because those usually stay lower. Versus if someone's backing off the line, I'm usually going to do topspin to kind of keep pushing them back, you know? If I know someone doesn't move super well, I'll kind of bring them in the middle and then kind of roll it out wide. But if I'm taking it out of the air, there's also offensive slices. So also when I'm like rolling, if I try and push someone out, it's the same thing with my slice. So sometimes if I take it out there, I can push it deep across the court. And I've gotten a lot of free points off of that, because when you're reaching in like this, usually the person thinks maybe you're gonna speed up or maybe you're gonna go through the middle. And that's when you kind of pull it out wide.
So Tyra, so we were playing some games, right? And you were kind of watching me try to hit dinks out of the air. I feel like that's probably one of my weakest part of my games. Not necessarily when I'm choosing to do so, but how my technique is and kind of what I'm looking for. I get confused. Like I'm almost always looking to attack versus kind of just put that ball back. Can you tell me maybe why or what I should be looking for, what I'm doing wrong on those?
Yeah, so it's really important when you see that someone's gonna be just dinking straight back to you over here, you wanna make sure your paddle's just set right out in front. Sometimes you're taking a little bit of a backswing, which makes it difficult to kind of make contact with the ball out in front and go back cross court. So you always wanna be set out here. If I see the ball's coming over a little bit higher, then I can set up to speed it up. You just really wanna be in this position here. You have to wait an extra second to kind of see where that ball is going before you kind of set up for the next shot.
So I'm doing this too early, like probably before the ball is crossing the net to me.
Yes.
When I should be looking for this, and then as the ball is like maybe right here, like after the net, that's when I can attack.
Yeah, right when after they make contact, you can kind of see what shot they're hitting.
Right.
So before it even goes over the net, you really just want to be ready to react to the next shot. You're always looking to speed up a little bit too much, which is good. You want to be aggressive. But you also have to be ready to stay in that defensive position and just kind of work the point.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes I get stuck where I'm looking to speed up and then I'm in this like grip.
Yes.
And then I do something like this where I like flick it back, and that's just stupid. When I should just be kind of guiding that ball back.
Yeah, you really just want to guide it back. Sometimes when I'm playing, I'll also do that and I'll get stuck a little bit. So I've kind of learned this roll out wide. But in any normal point, you really just want to be set up here and ready to guide the ball back. And then if you see it's a little bit higher, then you can set up and take that backswing and attack it.
Okay, perfect. So when you're in a hands battle in a pro match, okay, whoever it is you're playing, are you kind of just using your instincts to hit these balls? But obviously you've practiced so many times where, like for me, for instance, I get caught up in like when to use a two-y on this side, am I like, especially in the hip pocket, I get crunched up a lot where like, do I use a pancake here? Do I hit with the backhand? Like, is it that you're kind of set up for backhand when you hit kind of that hip shot versus like, if you're not and you're kind of neutral, that's when you hit the forehand on that side?
So usually in a point, there's a lot of people who like to sit either or side. I try not to sit too heavy on one side. Like when people are countering, sometimes they'll turn all the way and have a big backswing, which is the last thing you want to do in the middle of a hands battle. So you really want to make sure you're always staying facing forward. If you want to lean to either or side, that's fine. So sometimes I'll go a little bit to my backhand here or a little bit to my forehand if I know they like to speed up over here. But paddle's always out in front, right in front of me. And then I'll usually just shift here. If it's anything if they're aiming towards my right shoulder, I'll usually go through here. If it's through my right hip, I'll usually kind of chicken wing that one through here.
Interesting. Okay, why do you do that instead of hit like a forehand? Because I do see, I guess Ben is kind of a different guy, but sometimes he does hit like a forehand, like nice spin, like volley. Is that because he has enough time to do that?
Yeah, his grip is a little bit further over and he gets like that good top spin on it. It's not a bad shot to hit. If someone hits it a little bit more over, then I would suggest like to do it, but that's what I do. But if it's right here at my right hip, I'll usually just kind of chicken wing it because that's the easiest position if you're here to just kind of do this. Usually the ball's coming from like right in front of you, so it's easier to just kind of go this way rather than take a forehand anywhere.
Perfect. Okay. One last thing I want to cover with this. So in terms of taking balls out of the air and attacks, what do you look for when attacking a ball? It's got to be obviously mostly above net height or close.
Yeah.
And what do you aim for on an opponent usually? What's the spot?
So first of all, you really want it to be net height. I think some pros, once you get to a certain level, like you have enough spin, sometimes you're taking them even a little bit lower and speeding them up. It's not always a good idea, but it works sometimes. Ben can do it really well from super far below the net, which is really crazy. And he just kind of lifts through it. I think that really just depends on how much spin you have and like, I guess, control. And then when I'm playing the point, depending on if it's my like forehand flick or backhand flick, I'll usually just try and go cross body a lot because it catches people quite a bit. They're usually waiting for that down the line shot, so I'll just go cross body, and then I'm ready with my forehand to attack the next one.
Interesting, because of the pattern, I guess.
Yeah.
So let's say you hit a backhand to Tommy's backhand, more than likely that ball is going to come back to your forehand.
Because it's very difficult for them to hit a cross-court shot or cross-body shot from there. And if they do, most of the time it goes out because they have to drive it back. Unless they hit a reset. So if they're countering back at me, it's tough for them to hit it here. So I'm usually just sitting on that next forehand.
Okay.
But also, if I do attack up the line, it's usually because it's someone who sits super heavy backhand, and then I'll just try and catch them through.
So talk to me about, so this is the last segment here, the last component when trying to be unstoppable at the kitchen line. The backhand is super important because what would you say maybe the percentage of volleys you hit is on the backhand side?
Oof, that's a really tough question.
Like more than 50-50, right? Because you're guarding your body with your backhand.
Yeah, probably a lot more backhand volleys.
70-30 maybe, 80-20. I think it's that high.
Shoot, sorry, that's a tough one. Usually I hit quite a few forehands just because I'm very aggressive on the left, so I even take a lot of balls from my partner. So it's a tough one. Maybe.
Which happened in our video. Strange how that works.
I like that.
I'm just going to say 60-40 for now.
60-40.
I don't know what it is.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. So more backhands than forehands. So obviously we want to master that backhand if we're taking more of those at the net. So you obviously have a very good two-handed, but I feel like, and when you were kind of talking, like when I asked you what the best element of your game was, I think you didn't really mention your one-handed backhand. I think in terms of especially the women, you have not only the most powerful, but like the fastest, and you get a lot of whip on that.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about like maybe what your grip and your form is on your one-handed, and then kind of transition, what do you see from your two-handed?
So with my one-hander flick, I use a continental grip for everything. So I'm really making sure my wrist is down low. I'm reaching out in front and just going through forward. Some people like to flick and they kind of use their elbow and shoulder a little bit too much and just lift it. I like to use my wrist and just go forward. If you watch even Gabe or Hayden, they really reach in, use their wrist, and kind of flick over it a lot. Yeah.
That would be a flick, but a roll would be like you're using your shoulder kind of, right?
Yeah. I mean, even if I'm hitting a roll sometimes, unless I'm going out wide there, I'll try and use my wrist to kind of get that extra top spin. It's kind of like even on your forehand or backhand, when you want to get more spin, you drop your racket head more. So sometimes I'll just use my wrist for that.
Okay. What about volleys out of the air, kind of like what we were doing before in terms of, so obviously you're hitting mostly one-handed backhands out of the air. When do you ever switch to your two-handed on a volley? Is that like a put-away shot usually?
If I need a little bit more power, if someone hits a slower ball up here, that's usually when I put two hands on, and then I'll just kind of go for it. Or if I'm going for a specific spot or like angle or anything like that, that's when I'll hit it. But if anything's like super low or really high, I'll usually just use one hand. But if it's a floater through the middle here, then I'll usually put two hands.
So it has to be a little slower.
Yeah.
Generally in like a really fast hands battle, you're not using that two-handed very much.
If I see that I caught them and maybe they hit one a little bit slower to me, or if I got it down at their feet and they lifted it, that's when I'll go and take the two-hander to put more power through the court. But for the most part in a hands battle, I'll just do one hand unless I get the right shot.
All right, so that's it for our video, being unstoppable at the kitchen line. So huge shout out to Tyra and Tommy for coming by. Want to thank Tyra for her time, and also thank Pickle for allowing us to use their space and for being her sponsor and hooking kind of this whole thing up. We really have a great relationship with them and just want to shout them out. They're just great people and really want to support them. So be on the lookout for Pickle gear. And Tyra, do you want to say anything? Give us a shout out.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
Yeah,
thank you to Pickle for letting us use this facility and setting everything up. And make sure you guys watch the Around the Post podcast.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Let's go.
Yeah, thanks, Tyra. Thank you, Tyra.